Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello there, it's Friday, September 24th. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Carroll in for Maya Tribulsi. Young people across San Diego County are joining in a global strike over climate change. They're protesting the continuing deterioration of the environment around the world and in their own backyard. Students in the San Diego Unified School District walked out of their classes and marched to City Hall downtown today. In the South Bay, high school students on fall break rallied outside Chula Vista City Hall. KPBS education reporter MG Perez was at Patrick Henry High School, where hundreds of students took part in the movement.
If you were looking for a sign, this might be it. Or this. Maybe this sign, too. The message is clear, and students here at Patrick Henry High School want to be heard.
Our leaders, they have made it clear that they are not going to step up for our futures, so we're going to step up for our own futures.
Abby Darling is the school's student environmental commissioner. She organized this noontime rally with several hundred of her classmates, all of them inspired by Swedish youth activist Greta Thunberg.
There is no planet B, so let's stop acting like there is one. We need to demand a change.
This global climate strike is a community effort endorsed by the school's administration. It was also encouraged by San Diego Unified School Board members who passed a resolution to protect their students' rights to protest today.
Even the principal had something to say.
You know what? The adults, we've screwed it up. Now we're looking for you. We need your help. You are our future.
Patrick Henry High School has 2,500 students. All of these students left their classrooms to create their own history lesson on campus.
The burning of fossil fuels, stuff like the Industrial Revolution, that's what kind of kick-started the degradation of our planet. And it's, as much as it sucks, it's up to us to fix it, because we're going to be who's left over.
I hope that we can be zero waste. I hope that the pollution has gone down to zero. I hope that we can have a Green New Deal. But as I see it, it's going to be hard to get there.
That's a reality check from the younger generation that might just be the best prepared to find much-needed solutions. MG Perez, KPBS News.
Days before the San Diego Unified School District is set to consider a vaccine mandate for students, a local group is warning it may take legal action to stop it. Let Them Choose is an offshoot of the Let Them Breathe group, which has staged protests against mask requirements in schools around the county. In a letter to the district, the group says the decision whether to vaccinate a child for COVID-19 should be made solely by the child's parents in consultation with a doctor. The group also says it's disturbed the district is considering what it calls discrimination, with a plan to put unvaccinated students into remote or independent study. The group's legal advisor says they're not opposed to vaccines, but they want a choice.
Especially with the risk profile, that we have for children from COVID, is that there shouldn't be any reason at this point that we need to mandate a vaccine, and we need to let every kid and parent and their doctor decide whether or not that vaccine is appropriate for them at this time.
Scott Davison adds it would be illegal to pass a mandate without a personal belief exemption. He says Let Them Choose is prepared to take legal action if the board refuses exemptions or requires unvaccinated students to stay off campus. The school board says it will address the matter appropriately through legal channels. The board meeting is this Tuesday. It's official, booster shots of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine can now be given to millions of adults in the U.S. The CDC is recommending people 65 and older, long-term care facility residents, and people with underlying conditions should get a booster shot 6 months after their second dose. The CDC even went a step further than its vaccine advisors, saying people aged 18 to 64 whose jobs put them at increased risk may get a booster shot.
Many of our frontline workers, essential workers, and those in congregate settings come from communities that have already been hardest hit. Withholding access for boosters from these people and communities would only worsen the inequities that I have committed to fight against.
The White House says Pfizer booster shots will be available in 80,000 locations, including more than 40,000 pharmacies nationwide. San Diego County and hospital officials are waiting for approval from the state to start administering booster shots. KPBS reporter Alexander Nguyen has that part of the story.
Last year, to ease the public's concern over the vaccine approval process, Governor Gavin Newsom, along with Oregon, Washington, Nevada, and Colorado, formed the Western States Scientific Review Work Group to independently review the FDA and CDC's recommendations. That is what's happening now. The county as well as the hospital officials say they are waiting for the final approval from both the work group and the state's Department of Public Health. In a statement, County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says once that happens, quote, our region will be well prepared to provide the Pfizer booster shots for those who are eligible. Both Sharps and Scripps Health echo Fletcher's sentiment. Dr. Jotu Sandhu says Sharp is gearing up to provide boosters but hasn't yet.
We are looking at the recommendations very carefully at the moment, and we're gearing up for anything that could be changing and coming down the pipeline.
Over at Scripps Health, CEO Chris Van Gorder says the hospital is anticipating a big demand from people looking to get boosters. He says Scripps is in talks with the Del Mar Fairgrounds about hosting a vaccination site there.
We haven't concluded those yet, but we fully anticipate that we will. And as a result, we'll probably be able to start offering appointments, at least appointment scheduling next week, with vaccinations to be able to start taking place at, we hope, Del Mar the following week.
This morning, CDC director went against the agency's panel of advisors and recommended COVID boosters for frontline healthcare workers. Van Gorder says his staff has been lobbying him to get boosters, but the news didn't go over well with everyone. Nurse Tony Bittner, who works at Rady Jones Hospital, says she is against the vaccine mandate as well as the booster.
I guess the biggest concern is that we have a politically appointed official that's making a unilateral decision against the experts on her committee concerning the vaccine booster. And so it should give everyone pause. National Nurses United, the nation's largest nurses union, however, says it applauded the CDC director's decision to include healthcare workers. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
Late this afternoon, the Western States Scientific Safety Review Work Group approved the CDC's recommendations. The state's public health department is expected to follow suit. For the latest on the pandemic and resources, check out the Tracking COVID-19 section at kpbs.org. You can get there by clicking the link on our homepage. A California task force that's studying how to give reparations to African Americans wrapped up today. The first of its kind effort covered 2 days, hearing from expert witnesses about how slavery, the Great Migration, and housing discrimination contributed to racial inequality. Secretary of State Dr. Shirley Weber authored the bill that created the task force when she was a state assembly member. She addressed the role political disenfranchisement and the prison industrial complex have had on Black Californians.
Even though California was much more liberal in its voting, it did very little to inform people about it. When I ran for the assembly, I had people who didn't know that if you were an ex-felon, you could vote in California. They could do whatever they want.
The task force will meet again next month and has until 2023 to recommend a reparations proposal. San Diego's independent budget analyst, Andrea Tevlin, announced her retirement this month after working at the city for 16 years. Her office was established by voters in 2004 as an independent check on the mayor. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen sat down with Tevlin to reflect on her career.
Andrea Tevlin, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Of course. Thank you.
So, for those who are less familiar with the city government, what does the independent budget analyst do?
The independent budget analyst was part of the ballot item because we were switching from a city manager form to a strong mayor form. That means that the city manager is no longer here to advise the council on issues. So that's where I step in, but not just for the council, but for the public and actually for being independent because the council members have very different perspectives. And a city manager, for instance, would come in and give various proposals or just different perspectives, and that's what we do.
So you've chosen to make this position a lot more about transparency than just, analyzing and budgets. Yeah. So why was that important to you?
I guess just from my experience, I would have been in this field for, 30 some years when I came here. And I just know that that's an important part of the process because they can really make a difference when they're coming to the council or to the mayor if they have good information. I just felt a responsibility for it. I really did. So we just decided, it's even in our mission statement that I have here, that it's providing council and the community with our clear, objective, and unbiased information. So that was our goal from day one, and we have really worked on that.
What was one of the most difficult moments in your career at the city?
My most difficult moments were in the beginning, when no one understood what this office was going to do, particularly the mayor's office. And it was difficult to get into that point where I could convince people that we are here to stay, we're going to do our job, we're going to be factual, we're going to be transparent, and that's it. And it just took a while, it just really took a while. Everyone at that point, we were so focused on the budget, everyone was very concerned. Getting back that's the first mission everyone had, was to just get that budget back in place. And I think after a while, people got to know that we were doing good work, not trying to criticize. But it was a while. It was a while, a couple of years.
You probably saw it and heard it. Rain, lightning, and thunder made its way across the county this afternoon. This is a look at it coming down in Golden Hills, or Hill, rather. And there's a chance this isn't the last we'll see of the rain. Meteorologist Melissa Constanzer has our forecast.
We certainly have seen some showers trying to work into our area, and that's actually going to continue a bit into the evening hours and maybe even through tomorrow. So a little bit of rain, a possibility as we go out through time, but otherwise staying mild and trending actually warmer and drier as we get into next week. So we won't be talking about those rain chances for much longer. As you go through tonight, 66 the low, some clouds out there, and yes, even some showers, thunderstorms rumbling on through. We've already noted those in the area. And some of them actually could venture at times towards the coast. So I can't completely rule out here a little bit of moisture making it even towards the beaches. Getting into tomorrow, this is kind of our last day to get some of the wet weather out there. Showers, thunderstorms kind of streaming in from this upper level low, which is trying to pull moisture in from the south. So that's where we're getting our rain chances. They're limited. Not everyone's going to get the chance for some showers, but certainly some folks will see it. And I think tomorrow maybe a little less chance than what we saw today. San Diego 75 for the high, meanwhile 75 in Oceanside, and as you look towards Mount Laguna, 66 with that chance for a little bit of wet weather. Here's how tomorrow plays out. We do have those low coastal clouds. It might be pretty quiet early to start, but then you can see some of those clouds kind of building from the west, the mountain showers developing, maybe a few rumbles of thunder out there depending on where you are. Not a ton of wet weather even as we go into the evening, but at least that chance for some showers and thunderstorms lingering around. Getting into Sunday, though, this upper level low starts to move east and weakens as it does so. So I think we've turned off our chance for moisture as we close out the weekend. The forecast, at least for the coast, calling for some fog, then sunshine, temperatures in the mid-70s getting into Sunday, still holding on to much of the same as we begin with that morning fog and get into more sunshine through the afternoon. Inland locations looking similar with highs near 80 degrees, maybe even staying into the upper 70s as we go into Monday. And then beyond that, for our mountain locations, that's where we have that chance for a stray shower or thunderstorm heading into tomorrow. Beyond, we stay in the 60s here and keeping things pretty bright and dry. Desert locations staying in the 90s but climbing back to the mid-90s as we get into next week. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Melissa Constanzer.
Encinitas is going electric. This week, the City Council voted to ban natural gas hookups in new developments and some renovations. Stoves, furnaces, and water heaters will now require electric hookups in an effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Mayor Catherine Blakespear says the ordinance is not expected to increase construction costs since pricing is similar for electric and gas appliances.
Every little bit counts. And that's what's important here, is that we are trying to move off of our dependence on oil in all ways.
The rule applies to homes and businesses, with some restaurants eligible for an exception. Encinitas is the first city in the county to approve a ban on gas hookups. State law already requires solar panels to be built on new homes. The biggest professional tennis tournament in San Diego history is being served up next week. Some notable international and local players are slated to be on the courts. KPBS reporter Melissa May gives us a preview of the first San Diego Open.
The Barnes Tennis Center in Point Loma had just 5 weeks to organize and prepare the first ever Association of Tennis Professionals tourney in San Diego. From September 27th to October 3rd, tennis fans have the chance to see some of the best male tennis players in the world compete in the San Diego Open.
For the sports community and San Diego, it's a big deal.
Jack McGrory is the co-chair of the tournament and an avid tennis player. He tells us how the ATP finally selected San Diego to host an ATP tournament.
When the Chinese part of the tour got canceled because of the pandemic, they called us and said, will you please host an ATP tournament so we can keep the players working and earning prize money.
The ATP granted several one-year license to tournaments, and we were so fortunate to get one of those.
Ryan Redondo is the Barnes Tennis Center general manager and San Diego Open tournament director. He says every seat is a good one.
The courts, the weather, there is not one bad seat in this facility, so it's just going to be awesome. This center court right now holds 2,000 people. Our second court will hold about 400. So we have a lot of people that can come through.
Youth Tennis San Diego owns and operates the center and is dedicated to promoting the development of all youth through organized tennis. Clinics for kids are scheduled throughout the tournament, and many of the young athletes will be sitting in the stands or serving as ball girls and boys.
This is just going to inspire, motivate our youth. For the tennis community to be able to have, again, players just feet away, right in front of you to play. I think it's going to be a huge experience and just promote the game of tennis and our city.
This men's professional tournament will feature a 28-player singles draw and a 16-team doubles draw. A total of $600,000 in prize money is up for grabs.
You're going to have great food, a great atmosphere, music, merchandise to buy, concessions, and great weather, San Diego.
Hundreds of jobs were created to put on a tournament of this size, from construction to concessions. Plus, hundreds of volunteers are needed to help this tournament run smoothly. Besides creating jobs for the community, the tournament will help the local economy too.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars are going to go into the city just by bringing this 1 week tournament in. So it's a huge boost to the city. It's a huge boost to Point Loma, Ocean Beach, downtown, and it's so positive for the city.
Players set to appear include Andrei Rublev, currently the number 5 player in the world.
The big one is Andy Murray. Everybody's really excited about Andy. Multi-Grand Slam champion, gold medalist. So we're really looking forward to having him here. The talent is the best in the world. It's what you see on the U.S. Open, and all of these guys will be then going on to Indian Wells too.
3 local tennis players will have the opportunity to play in front of a hometown crowd, including Brandon Nakashima, who's currently ranked 85th in the world. He hit some balls in the deck of the USS Midway to promote the San Diego Open and show the ATP support for the military community.
To be able to come up here and even to hit some tennis balls up here, it's such a cool experience.
The tournament will be having a Military Appreciation Day on September 29th. Nakashima is constantly traveling to different tennis tournaments all over the world. He's looking forward to sleeping in his own bed for a change.
It's such a good feeling, coming back home and being able to play a professional tournament close by where I grew up and where I've trained as a junior. It's really cool to see, and it's going to be great to have all my family and friends come out and support.
The High Bluff Academy graduate plans on being a part of the youth clinics as much as he can. The tournament will feature 2 sessions a day. The day session starts at 11:30 a.m. and a night session starts at 5:30 p.m. Free shuttles are being provided from Liberty Station to the Barnes Tennis Center for both the day and night sessions. Masks are required on the shuttle, but not at the venue. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Qualifying matches for the tournament will be held at the Barnes Tennis Center this weekend, and we're told there are still tickets available for that and every session of the tournament, too. It turns out one segment of our food and beverage industry was pandemic-proof. Mariel Concepcion from the San Diego Business Journal tells us about a spike in sales for canned cocktails in the Friday Business Report.
So Cutwater is the largest distillery in San Diego. They make these pre-mixed canned cocktails, including Moscow Mule and tequila margarita and things like vodka soda. Now, during the pandemic, companies like Cutwater, which offer canned beverages, saw a huge uptick as a result of convenience, but specifically for Cutwater because they are low calorie and low sugar as well. In fact, the second half of last year, they saw an increase in sales volume, so much so compared to the first half of last year that they ended 2020 nearly doubling their revenue compared to 2019. During the pandemic specifically, these canned offerings, beer, seltzer, kombucha, and cocktails became super important for consumers and also off-premise and on-premise retailers in town. For on-premise, like bars and restaurants, when they were able to sell to go, they turned to these canned options. And then for supermarkets, it just helped them keep their revenue up as people were flocking to stores to buy these.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, negotiations over President Biden's legislative agenda stalls in Congress amid Democratic infighting. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Like many arts organizations, Diversionary Theater was forced to close its doors during the pandemic, but it put the time to good use by moving ahead with a major and much-needed remodel. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando asked Diversionary's executive artistic director Matt Morrow to give us a tour of the renovated facility.
Welcome to Diversionary Theater. My name is Matt Morrow. I'm the Executive Artistic Director here, and I'm going to give you a tour of our newly renovated facility. It's not quite finished yet, but we're just a few days away from reopening. So we're in the process of putting on the final touches with our new building. So come on in and let's check out the cabaret space. It's a very intimate space that's meant to honor the classic gay bar experience. And then we have collages on our wall and embedded in our bar that honor the gay bar experience and the history of the LGBTQ community, both locally and nationally. And then if you look at this beautiful plexi light up sign, when you walk in, when you look at it from one direction, it says Ye Olde Gay Bar. And then when you walk down the bar and look at it from the other direction, it says, you're in the right place. And then you can see we have copper tops to our tables and bar area. Copper neutralizes viral contagion. So this is the Stuart Gordon stage where we'll have live entertainment 6 nights a week. So if you've been to Diversionary before, you might remember the horror story that was our restroom experience. We've remodeled them, and we took inspiration from a disco ball. So when you come into the bathroom, it feels like you're walking inside a disco ball with all the mirrored tile. So now we're gonna go upstairs to the Al Mazur and Rob Granite main stage. Again, these steps are going to be painted red. So in our main stage, we're putting on the final touches to our West Coast premiere of Danye Love's 1 and 2.
We don't have a transition from kids to the next kids?
Our newly coined Alfred Mazur and Robert Granite main stage has been completely renovated. We have new theater seats. We took down a wall, so we've expanded the stage itself to make it a little bit larger. It's still an incredibly intimate stage with 102 seats. So now we're backstage at Diversionary Theater. This entire space back here has been reimagined and restructured. We now have this beautiful hallway that connects our main stage and New Play Development Center. And then through here is our Rule K. Olin New Play Development Center. And this is also a flexible black box theater space that we can mount staged readings and workshop productions of new plays in. So this is our Randy Clark and Tom Maddox Education Center, and it's a space dedicated specifically for our work in arts education. Diversionary has 7 arts education programs serving the entire San Diego community. So excited that we're bursting back into action with the West Coast premiere of Danye Love's 1 and 2. Title 1 and 2 is a reference to a CDC statistic that is unfortunately still relevant today that says 1 in 2 queer African American men will contract HIV/AIDS in their lifetime.
So let's play. An HIV positive man walks into a bar.
You know, Diversionary has always been a space for everyone, and we've always worked to honor the diversity of our community. And so it's in the forefront of everything that we do, that we must make sure that everyone feels comfortable and welcome and safe in our space.
1 and 2 has preview performances for friends and donors this weekend and then runs October 2nd through the 24th on the newly improved Diversionary stage. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you for joining us as the alarm goes off in the building. We're all leaving now. Have a great weekend.
Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley. And by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.